Ms. Rattan is the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Social Development, Community and Gender Affairs, and she also serves as the 2012 Chairperson for our 29th Anniversary Independence celebrations. The 2012 celebrations seem to be special in a number of ways. To begin with, its theme. What exactly informed the theme for the 2012 Independence celebrations?
The theme this year is centered around children. To be exact, it is cherishing children, strengthening families. And it is special because children is at the heart of the theme. As chair for the Independence Committee, I lobbied quite a bit for the focus to be on children. Quite naturally, there's an entire department in our ministry dedicated to children. That is the Department of Probation and Child Protective Services. Even though that is dedicated to looking after the interests of children, there's also the community development, where we also see many cases of children affected in some way, in one way or the other. Outside of that, I'm an educator at heart. I spent many of my years within the walls of the classroom and outside the classroom with children. And my experience thus far has showed me the importance of focusing on our children. The government has quite a number of reforms having to do with children. I know one of the things we are very proud of in St. Kitts Nevis is the right to education. And that is something that we would want to reaffirm, emphasize the importance of the right to education. And it fits in quite nicely with the opening of the academic year.
Some persons, I'm sure, every year continue to look forward to certain specific events, the Independence Day Parade, perhaps the Independence Gala Night, and so on. What are some of the must-see events, in your opinion, for our 29th celebration?
Let me begin from the 12:30 to the minister's school visits. Normally, the visits are focused at the secondary level, but this year, the visits will be focused on the primary schools, all the primary schools. For years now, the bigger children, they're still children, but the bigger children had the focus. But we are going to be, the ministers will be visiting the children throughout all of the primary schools, public and private primary schools in St. Kitts Nevis. Preschoolers this year will be added to the treat. Generally, they're not included. It would be the primary and secondary schools. But because of our focus on children, the preschoolers would be added to that target group. A lot is happening on the 14th. On the 14th, downtown Basseterre will come alive. The Department of Probation and Child Protective Services will be doing a public education outreach. We want to increase the visibility of that department. We would like that department to share with the general public what services are offered, who are the faces that they can find in the event that they need help at that department. We have a new activity on the 14th, which would be a feature of our young persons in the military. And specifically, we would have a drill display at 6:30 opposite Rams on the Bear Road, featuring the cadets, our young persons who are part of this group in the military. And we would also have a feature of the Police Drum Corps Juniors, who would also be featuring their talents in the playing of the drums. So we would have that at 6:30, followed by the gala that many families look forward to at 7:30 in front of the Treasury apron.
We keep emphasizing that this year's independence activities will be focusing on, if it were, as it was, celebrating children and their needs as well as their potential to become positive, responsible citizens. And so far, I think that all that you've mentioned provides a very good platform for the other young people looking on at the independence celebrations to know and understand that there are still positive young people out there, and there is still the chance to be a positive person, be a responsible young person in this federation. And I'm very happy that the independence celebrations as a national event would bring out this kind of opportunity.
And I don't want to forget our young athletes on Saturday 15th who will be participating in the marathon. The Olympic Committee and the SK3A normally work in close association with the Department of Sports to put off the marathon. Sometimes March, the second term, January to March, April is a season when lots of parents get involved in the athletics. But it will be good to come out. I invite you to come out to show your support with the young children participating in the marathon. At the church service, which will be held on the 16th, we have children featured as part of the service. A special request was made to the Christian Council to ensure that our young people are featured as part of the service. And even Foreign Affairs, they have reached out to a group of the 25 most remarkable teens to train them to assist with ushering activities. So the children are involved, perhaps not in a big celebratory manner, but they're involved in very positive activities. I would turn my attention now to the Community Awards, which we have now married with the laying of the Wreath and Guard of Honor, which would take place on the 17th. That is because Sunday is the 16th, so the holiday would be on the following day. And the focus of the Community Awards this year will be on persons who have helped to shape and nurture the lives of children in a positive way. So we now flip our focus over to the adults who have had some impactful measure on our young. On the 17th in the afternoon, the breast cancer fundraiser at 4 p.m. at 17 degrees, located at Victoria Road. And there would be a fundraiser, Shades of Pink it is called, where the family has the opportunity to go. I think they'll be doing little fashion shows, etc., tea party-like setting. And we felt that that was quite appropriate because it is in times of illness where the families have to pull together, they have to bond. And I can tell you that a bit of illness coming your way to one working adult in the family can throw that family into poverty. And this is why this was given consideration. I would hope to emphasize here to others who had requests that they were not considered because they didn't fit in with the theme. So we wanted to make sure that all the activities fit in nicely with the theme and give us the opportunity to focus on our children and families.
I've got a mark here on my schedule, something called the National Colors Day. That sounds very interesting. Is this a new feature that or new event that we hope to birth through the 29th anniversary celebrations?
Yes. It's called National Colors Day, and we're asking for the creative use of the national colors. And I must emphasize here, not the use of the flag. The use of the national colors. This was very interesting discussion with the committee members, as we felt it would, start an awareness. It would get the creative juices flowing of the public with how they can use the national colors, the colors of the national flag. And we have already spoken to principals prior so that they could be aware, so it would be a mufti day for the schools without money. Usually we know the schools use it as a fundraiser, but this time we have asked just for the creative juices to flow and it will be extended to the whole general public. We are hoping that the business places would give some leeway, cooperate, so that persons can use the colors creatively. And that is because hopefully next year we are looking towards perhaps a competition. And we are looking forward to that one. So we're appealing to everybody to get your creative juices on the go and see what you come up with on the 18th.
Okay, sounds really, really interesting, and I'm sure that not only the general public, but as young persons, there are some young persons out there who I think can be very creative. Everything from the colors of the weaves and braids in the hair and so on, to the actual top and bottom pieces. The way in which some persons have been able to combine certain colors makes for a very interesting match.
Well,
so
I would eagerly await to see what they come up with, and perhaps we can have a fashion show at some point next year.
That's basically it with respect to the major activities of the agenda. And of course, on the 19th itself is the Independence Parade. That too, in recent times, has seen many parents coming out with their children to see the parade itself, as opposed to coming on their own or sending the children on their own. And that's something I'm sure we would want to continue to encourage.
Yes, I would want to urge the parents to continue going to the park with their children. It is usually something, ever since I was a child, that intrigues children, going to the park. And we would want to encourage you to come out as a family, in particular this year. You've been doing it all the time, but you can make the extra effort and invite more families out with their children to view the parade on the 19th.
We are very happy that you've taken the time to come and explain to us and give us, in brief, some of the highlights of what to expect for our 29th anniversary independence celebrations.
Think of the investments that our country would have in the future if we make a positive investment in our children today. That is what I would like to leave them with. And as it relates to the ministries with responsibility for children, it's not only my ministry. Remember, there's also the St. Christopher Nevis Royal Police, whom I think should be commended for the introduction of the Special Victims Unit, which deals very often with cases of physical and sexual abuse amongst children. Great effort is being made in that area to address the way in which we handle it, the ways in which we protect our children. There's also the legal department, who would have quite a responsibility for children with respect to the laws. And I hope the legal minds will be out there reflecting on how we can amend our laws to improve our decision making with regards to the protection of our children. It is a very important time for us as we seek to improve the best interests of our children.
We want to say thank you to Ms. Rattan and of course to her ministry, bearing in mind that this year's theme is quite in keeping with the overall goals and objectives of the Ministry of Social Development, Community and Gender Affairs. We also want to encourage you, as she said, as parents, children, families, to come on out, be a part, don't just look at it on TV, be a part of the 29th anniversary of our independence celebration. It's your independence, it's my independence, it's our independence, and we look forward to seeing you out at these activities. Until next time, from the St. Kitts and Nevis Information Service, this is Kervin Lloyd saying a pleasant evening.
And so it was with pride that we saw when at the stroke of midnight on September the 18th, 1983, the Union Jack was lowered, our own flag was raised.